Hi, this is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and ATM Mastermind group page, and we're here today to talk about best practices in the ATM business. In today's video, we're going to talk about the best practices in an ATM business, and we're going to talk about the good and the bad, but we're going to focus right now on the bad practices that I see out there in the industry that are happening today. So months ago, we were asked by another company to vault cash their ATMs. They didn't have enough money to vault cash some of their ATMs. They want to put some with us to help free up their cash and help them expand their business. So we sat down, we talked about, okay, yeah, we can do this. We looked at where they were, see how we can integrate it into our route, started to draw paperwork, and as we got into their company, what we discovered is they had some locations and that they wanted us to help expand some of their business. So I said, no problem, we can help you. What's the situation? And they said, well, what we want you to do is we want you to go into a couple liquor stores on the west side of Chicago, and we want you to basically take the ATM that's in there, we want you to sawzall the bolts, we want you to take that ATM, place it on the side, we'll give you the ATM to place in there, and then we want you to put your vault cash in there. And I said, whoa, hold up. It's not something we like to do. It's not a practice that we like to fulfill, is to go in and remove somebody else's ATM. So we had some challenges with their practices, and they said, oh yeah, we do it all the time. Well, you might do it all the time, but we don't do it all the time. So we decided, you know what, in the best interest of both companies, I think we want to step back away from this relationship, and it's not something we want to fulfill and to enter into this agreement now. I'm very protective of our cash and the way we do business and our reputation in the industry, so we're not going to take this relationship any further. And so we decided, you know what, we're going to move away from them. Okay, but it led me to think, you know what, there are some, what I want to call them cowboys in the industry that are doing this, and so I want to talk about these issues and what are bad practices in the industry. Okay, so the first bad practice in the industry is basically to go into somebody's location, and for whatever reason you see, you know what, that ATM, it's down a lot or it's not working right, and you want to put your ATM in there and get that business. You feel that's a business loss for that location, and you see an opportunity. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to take a pry bar, stick it under the ATM, pry that ATM up, and then take a Sawzall or some other sawing device and saw that ATM out of there. Then you're going to put that ATM on the side, you're going to put your ATM in there. And then a lot of times what they'll do is they'll match the deal. Talk to the store owner, they'll match that deal, and the store owner will say, oh yeah, no problem, I don't like that guy, I don't want that situation. Okay, now, so you open yourself up to all kinds of bad things. You could, the best thing that's going to happen out of this situation is you're going to get a lawsuit. But another thing that could happen is, you know, some violence could happen from this situation, from you going in and starting conflict with the other ATM operator. Just remember, you're all in the same business together. You're going to run into somebody. As long as you're in the ATM business, you're going to see other operators, and this is going to come back to bite you and another time, and you don't want that. You're just starting out in the ATM business, or maybe you've been in the ATM business for a while. This is a bad practice, and I highly recommend that you don't do that. Again, it's not a good practice. So, second point is I highly recommend, it's a bad practice in the industry, is don't go over the top of another person who's had their ATM in the location. You know what, if the ATM isn't providing a cash solution for the store owner and it's not working for the store owner, let the store owner initiate that conversation. You could be on the back in the wings, and so you could say, you know what, I'm here. As soon as that ATM is removed, then we can look to put in our ATM, and you can sign an agreement, but you don't want to go over the top. Every time you go over the top of somebody, that's what I would call it, put an ATM while that ATM is in there, it's going to create a bad situation for you. Let that store owner initiate that conversation. They already had the relationship with that other ATM operator. They know what contracts they signed or they didn't, and let them, the store owner, be the catalyst. Do not be the catalyst and move and go over the top. That causes animosity, and it also causes some legal challenges. Let the store owner initiate all that. So 3 is we never want to move somebody else's property. You could get some legal ramifications, you damaged it, you ruined it, you this, you that, and you don't want to put yourself in that position. And as I mentioned before, in step 1 is this could lead to violence in this industry. There's some cowboys out there, either both sides, either you're going to decide, oh, I'm going to move this guy's ATM or this company's ATM, and they could go after you, not only legally, but physically, and you just don't want to put yourself in that position. Keep in mind, your name's on the ATM, people know that you have cash, and you don't want to put yourself into these ramifications of harm, okay? We have an ATM program, we go over all these things, take a deep dive into situations just like this. So I'm just going to give you some of this information right now because I think it's very important that you don't put yourself in harm's way. Okay, now good practices, okay? We're going to have 3 good practices that I highly recommend that you do. And we're going to give you 1 right now, and we're going to give you the other 2 in the ATM Mastermind group page. Always remember that you can go to ATM Mastermind group page, you can subscribe, doesn't cost you anything, and it's filled with a bunch of like-minded people just like yourself. Okay, so point number 1, one of the good practices that you do is when you're cultivating a relationship with the new store owner and they're not happy with the old store owner or the old ATM operator, what you're going to do is you're going to get them to, as I mentioned before, you're going to get them to facilitate the conversation, get the other ATM operator to move the ATM out. That way, your hands are clean, everything's done, and you're on the up and up. That way, you don't have any ramifications of this happening. Because the old ATM operator will now, if there is, a lot of times what will happen is they'll say they don't have a contract, and when they tell you to move your ATM out, then the other ATM operator will in fact, all of a sudden he'll come up with a contract that the store owner forgot or didn't know that exists, and now let them work that out. And if you blow that opportunity, you blow that opportunity, but at least you don't put yourself in harm's way with any kind of lawsuit, okay? So always remember, let the store owner initiate the conversation and get that ATM out. All right, I'll see you on the ATM Mastermind group page. Thank you.